Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man. You're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man. Sorry about that.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Hey, now that the dust has settled, are you happy with how things turned out?
God bless you, man. You know how good God is?
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
Do you forgive the prankster?
God is so good, man.
Okay, man. Thanks.
Oh my God! He bought it! Oh.
Imagine thinking your lifelong dream is finally here, only to realize it's all a cruel joke. For Shadour Sanders, son of NFL legend Deion Sanders, draft day became a nightmare when a fake NFL coach prank called him live on national TV. But what really set the rumor mill spinning? The bombshell allegation that this wasn't just a childish stunt, it was part of a calculated plot by the NFL's most powerful figures to humble Deion Sanders and his son. Was Shador's shocking draft slide a racial power play? Or did Deion's larger-than-life persona finally backfire? Let's dive into the drama that's dividing the sports world. It all began with what seemed like a dream-come-true moment, one phone call that had the power to change everything. Shadour Sanders, son of NFL legend Deion Sanders and a rising quarterback talent, sat nervously as draft day unfolded. Each minute ticked by with the weight of expectations on his shoulders. Then his phone rang. Caller ID flashed a name that made his heart stop. Mickey Loomis, the well-respected general manager of the New Orleans Saints. With adrenaline surging, Shadour picked up. On the other end, a calm, confident voice delivered the words every prospect aches to hear. "We're taking you next." For a brief, electrifying moment, the future seemed secure. But then came the catch. The voice continued, "But you'll have to wait a little longer." And just like that, the call abruptly ended. First, no one knew what to make of it. Confused but hopeful, Shadour and his camp waited. Minutes turned to hours, but the Saints never made their move. That's when the truth detonated across social media like a bombshell. The call hadn't come from Mickey Loomis at all. Instead, it was a cruel hoax orchestrated by Jax Albright, a 21-year-old known more for his TikToks than his tact, who just so happened to be the son of a coach on the Atlanta Falcons staff. In a now-viral video, Jax can be seen laughing hysterically with his friends as they boast about tricking one of the hottest draft prospects in the country. Publicly, Shadour tried to brush off the moment with grace, dismissing the incident with a calm, measured comment, "Everybody does childish things." But according to insiders close to the Sanders family, that wasn't the full story. Privately, there was outrage, deep, burning frustration that the world didn't see. This wasn't just some harmless prank or a tasteless joke. To the Sanders family, it was a disrespectful, calculated stunt that played with a young athlete's future, and worse, one that exposed deeper tensions bubbling beneath the surface of the NFL world. Because this wasn't just about one phone call or one viral video. As the backlash unfolded and more details came to light, a darker narrative began to form. Whispers circulated behind the scenes. Allegations flew. And soon, people were asking uncomfortable questions about race, privilege, and power in professional football. Was Shadour Sanders targeted because of who he was or because of what he represented? What began as a tasteless joke was quickly evolving into something far more serious, the opening act in a scandal that would force the NFL to confront issues it had long tried to ignore. Deion Sanders, never one to mince words, unleashed a scathing tirade across social media that sent shockwaves through the sports world. In a fiery and impassioned post, the NFL Hall of Famer accused league owners of colluding behind closed doors in what he likened to a Ku Klux Klan-type meeting, a loaded phrase that immediately caught fire online. According to Sanders, there was an intentional effort to damage his son Shadur's draft stock, one rooted not in performance or talent, but in something far uglier, race and control. The claim wasn't just emotional, it was pointed, with Deion backing it up with hard numbers and historical patterns that to many seemed impossible to ignore. He didn't need a conspiracy board or leaked emails to make his case. He pointed to the owner's box. Out of the 32 NFL teams, 31 are owned by white billionaires. That statistic alone raises eyebrows, but when you dig deeper into the treatment of black quarterbacks over the decades, how they're evaluated, how they're described, how they're doubted, it paints a pattern that's hard to dismiss. Deion wasn't the only one saying it. Cultural critics and sports analysts like Dr. Umar Johnson weighed in, echoing similar sentiments. According to them, Shadour Sanders wasn't punished for his play. He was punished for daring to exude confidence in a league that still seems uncomfortable when swagger comes in black skin. "White quarterbacks are celebrated when they show fire," Dr. Umar said in a viral clip. They're called leaders, charismatic, natural-born competitors. But let a young black man do the same? Suddenly, he's cocky, he's arrogant, he's hard to coach. It's a double standard as old as the game itself, and one that many believe reared its head yet again during this year's draft. Shador, once projected by multiple analysts to go as high as the second round, sat by helplessly as 5 other quarterbacks, all of whom he outperformed statistically in college, heard their names called before him. Cameras caught his disappointment, but not the deeper sting behind his silence. The most egregious moment came courtesy of the Cleveland Browns. Not once, not twice, but 6 times they passed on Sanders. Each pick felt like a slap in the face, a signal that no matter how well he performed, how much he proved, it still wasn't enough. And when they finally took him in the 5th round, felt less like a victory and more like a begrudging acknowledgement. Coincidence? Deion scoffed in a follow-up video. Hell no, y'all know what this is. His words hit a nerve, sparking heated debates on ESPN, Twitter, and sports radio stations across the country. This wasn't just about one draft pick. It was about decades of racial coding, systemic bias, and the gatekeeping that still defines one of America's most powerful leagues. To Deion Sanders, this wasn't just a personal insult, it was a public reckoning long overdue. But to be fair, there's another side to this explosive story, one that paints a far less flattering picture of Shadour Sanders and his high-profile father. In the days following the draft, a series of brutal leaks began to trickle out from anonymous NFL insiders. These weren't your run-of-the-mill scouting critiques, they were damning character assessments that spread like wildfire. According to sources quoted by ESPN and other major outlets, several front offices viewed Shadour not as a victim of bias but as the architect of his own downfall. Behind closed doors, some teams labeled him entitled, suggesting that his confidence crossed the line into arrogance. What really rubbed executives the wrong way? His decision to skip the NFL Combine, arguably the most important pre-draft showcase for any aspiring pro quarterback, and his reported attitude during team interviews. One unnamed general manager didn't mince words when speaking to ESPN reporters. "The kid came in like he was the one running the draft room," the GM said. "He acted like he was drafting us, not the other way around." That single quote hit the internet like a grenade, instantly dividing fans. To supporters, it was just another example of the tightrope black quarterbacks are forced to walk. Commanding but never too commanding, confident but never too much. To critics, it confirmed what they'd suspected all along, that Shadour and his father were bringing baggage no front office wanted to handle. And that baggage wasn't just perception, it had a name, Deion Sanders. While some saw Coach Prime's presence as a bonus, others saw it as a red flag waving in the wind. One top executive reportedly rolled his eyes at Deion's bold proclamation during the draft season, "If you draft Shadour, you're getting me too." On the surface, it sounded like a father proud of his son. But to NFL insiders, sounded like an ultimatum, a power play that undermined the chain of command teams work so hard to preserve. Nobody wants a situation where the quarterback's dad is acting like the real general manager, one head coach quipped anonymously. The implication was clear. Drafting Shadour meant inheriting Deion's personality, his media circus, and his unfiltered opinions, 24/7. Even among fans, the reaction has been deeply divided. Social media erupted with clashing opinions. One camp insisted the issue was crystal clear. This is racism, period. They pointed to the long history of black quarterbacks being scrutinized for traits praised in white counterparts, and saw Shadour as the latest in a line of unfairly judged stars. But others pushed back. "This isn't racism," one fan tweeted. "This is ego." Deion's ego cost his son millions. It's a narrative that's gaining traction and forcing people to ask hard questions. So who's really at fault here? Is this another case of the NFL punishing outspoken black talent? Or did Deion and Shadour overplay their hand in a league built on hierarchy and humility? One thing's for sure, this draft wasn't just about football. It was about power, identity, and the price of stepping out of line in a system that doesn't like to be challenged. But before you decide, there's one explosive detail nobody's talking about. When the Cleveland Browns finally selected Shadour Sanders as the 144th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the moment should have been triumphant, a celebration of a young quarterback's dream finally coming true. Instead, it was drenched in tension and disbelief. Cameras captured the instant Deion Sanders heard the news, and his expression said it all. Not joy, not pride, but stunned disappointment. In a quiet voice that didn't stay quiet for long, he muttered under his breath, "This ain't God, this the devil." Quote went viral in minutes. For fans who had followed the Sanders family saga throughout the draft process, it was a jaw-dropping confirmation of everything they suspected, that something behind the scenes had gone horribly wrong. And here's what made the moment even more bizarre. Cleveland had 6 separate opportunities to take Shador earlier in the draft. 6 times they looked him in the eye on the board and passed. So why draft him in the 5th round after so many clear snubs? That's where things get murky. League insiders began whispering almost immediately. The Browns didn't pass because they didn't want him, they passed to make a point. Allegedly, members of the ownership group felt Shador, and by extension his outspoken father, needed to be humbled. According to one source close to the organization, the team believed that drafting him too high would only feed the media frenzy and inflate egos they already saw as out of control. That theory isn't just speculation, it lines up with Deion's increasingly cryptic tweets in the days following the draft. "The truth wins in the end," he posted to his millions of followers, sparking a storm of interpretations. Some fans saw it as a spiritual reassurance, but others believed it was a warning shot, a hint that legal action might be on the table. Was Deion gearing up to sue the league? Was there evidence of collusion to sink his son's draft stock? Those questions hung in the air like smoke, adding new fuel to a scandal that already felt more like a political thriller than a football story. But critics didn't hesitate to strike back. Across Twitter, Reddit, and sports talk shows, a familiar rebuttal echoed, "If Shador is so good, why did every single team pass on him?" It's the kind of cold logic that ignores context but still lands like a punch. And it's left fans divided. Some are convinced the NFL sent a message, stay in your lane or get punished. Others think the Sanders family overplayed their hand, assuming talent would outweigh perception, and learning the hard way that it doesn't. Then there's the twist nobody saw coming, whispers of a secret meeting that never happened. Multiple sources close to several franchises hinted that teams had attempted to coordinate a closed-door session with Shador and Deion, perhaps to clear the air, perhaps to hash out boundaries, but the meeting fell through. Whether it was scheduling, ego, or politics that killed the plan, no one knows for sure. But its absence may have left lingering doubts that kept teams on edge. And if that meeting had happened, maybe this story ends very differently. Ultimately, Shadur's drop in the draft might not be about one bad interview, one skipped combine, or even Deion's media firestorm. Could be about a system that wasn't ready or willing to embrace a player who broke the mold. Or maybe it was about something deeper. Something no one in the NFL wants to say out loud, but everyone can feel. So, was Shadour Sanders blackballed? Or did Deion's primetime antics sabotage his son's future? The NFL's silence speaks volumes. But one thing's clear, this isn't just about football. It's about power, race, and who gets to call the shots in a league where the rules aren't the same for everyone. Drop your take below, conspiracy or accountability, and stick around, we're breaking down Deion's next move and it's wild.